In this screencast, we are going to start our Nightlight Adobe Illustrator artboard and learn the image trace tool. So to create your artboard, I already have Adobe Illustrator open on the home page. I'm going to hit New File, and I'm going to make sure that my artboard units are in inches, and it is 5 inches wide, 8 inches tall. I'm in RGB color mode, and my raster effects can be any of the settings. You see mine is high. And I hit Create. Once I do that at the speed of Adobe, I get a 5-inch wide by 8-inch tall artboard. A reminder, the laser engraver engraves black. So any design I put on here needs to be black stroke. So let's say I'm going to put a rectangle on there, and I draw my rectangle. I need to make sure on the right side in Properties, I'm going to turn my fill to transparent. That is the box with the line through it. And my stroke is black, RGB black. I can adjust thicknesses just like I learned in all my tutorials, but that is a reminder that everything must be in black. Which then leads to the image trace tool. What if I want something on my design that is not just something I can create myself, like a rectangle or text, but I want something fancier than that? For example, a kraken. I can try to design a kraken, but it might be easier to head over to our friend, the internet, our Google friend, and I'm going to search for a kraken. And I get search results. Well, I want an image, so I'm going to go to the image search results. And in addition to that, I can't use a picture. I need a drawing. So under the Tools menu, and forgive me, my theme makes it a little hard to see the sub-menus here. But when I click on Tools, the first thing I'm going to do is change the type to line drawing. I only want to search for line drawings. The other thing I might consider doing is using under Tools, usage rights, Creative Commons licenses. That way I'm not using something that's copyrighted that I shouldn't be using. And let's say I got to pick one of these that looks really cool. So how about this one? I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to right click and save it. I could copy and paste it in, but the advantage of saving is if something goes wrong and I need to start over, then this gives, I don't have to go back to the internet and go search for another one. Okay, so I'm going to head back into Adobe Illustrator, and I'm going to go File, Place. I want to place that image I just saved into my artboard. So Kraken, I'll pick this Kraken. I've saved a couple, so I don't remember which one it is. But most importantly, make sure none of these boxes are checked. Definitely not link, because what it'll do is it'll link to the internet file, the internet page, instead of actually embedding the file. So none of those should be checked, and click Place. And when I do, it's going to say, well, where do you want to place this object? And I can click anywhere on the screen, and there it is. Actually, I picked a different Kraken, but sorry about that. But this will work anyway. And then I can resize that. Remember, if I hold down the Shift key, it keeps the proportions equal instead of twisting it and reshaping it. And there we go. So I have a Kraken on my artboard, but I'm not finished. Just because it's in black and white, it doesn't work. White is still a color, and we need to get rid of that. We only want the black lines, and that is where the image trace comes in. So I have a newer version of Adobe Illustrator where the image trace pops up right here in the menu. If yours does, fine, great, use it. If not, head over to the right side, and when you have your image selected, in other words, you've got the blue lines around it, you can click on Image Trace tool right off on the right side. And again, I suggest you go right to Line Art. Okay? And it says it may take a minute, and I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to let it do its thing. Okay, and I'm waiting and waiting. And that's just the way things work around here when it takes a while to trace that image. There, now it's traced. You'll notice it altered the image a bit. And so back on the right side, I have a control box, a control panel. If I open it, And there are some sliders that I can play with, and there's some settings I can change. I can't tell you where to put your settings. You're just going to have to play with it a little bit. So if I change the threshold, now in a lot of software, as I drag it, you're going to see a live time change. But here, you have to let go of the bar, and it takes a minute to alter the image. So things don't happen instantaneously. But so far, I haven't seen much of a change. So that setting didn't have much of an effect on it, but I can change some others if I want to. Okay, so now what I have on my screen is something the laser engrave can actually engrave. Some other things that you might want, tips you might want to know here is, see how it says #1 Kraken? If I don't want that on there, I can actually come over and draw a box over it to block it out in all white, and then I won't see that anymore. So those are some other tips and tricks you can use when you're adding other elements. But make sure you image trace. You cannot put pictures and things in your laser engraved files. It won't work. Okay.